I'm just walking through the leaves. Already done quite a lot today. A lot of random things, like waking up. I had a dream that these women who were sort of doing these synchronised dancing movements, and then everything was connecting, and I realised they were outdoors and they didn't like doing performances in gallery settings, and everything made sense in my dream. And then I realised another thing, that they were responding to their environment, and that was helping them synchronise somehow. Anyway, it was a really beautiful dream where all these things that I'd been doing outside my dreams, like creative things, just tiny things, like I just made 2 short videos at different points. Well, they connected to this dream. So when I woke up, I wrote the dream down, and then I went downstairs and I had a coffee. I'd already got dressed by this point. Then I went upstairs, got in a different outfit again, and then I knew my brain wouldn't allow me to sit still. That bird inside of me was alive and well today, and so I decided to go for a wander. I wandered to Chisenhall Art Gallery, and I met an artist, and he showed me his studio. He was a funny guy, and he told me a funny story about how the council had tried to shut down Chisenhall, but it hadn't worked because they'd got this, they decided to get an external committee to try and help them save it, and they'd started working with a guy who he described as similar to a Rottweiler, and he hated women. Anyway, I told Cal, my flatmate, about this later, and apparently he was a really nasty guy, but he managed to save Chisenhall Gallery, and Cal made the joke that he hates women but he loves the arts, which was funny. So yeah, by that point I'd wandered home. I'd been to the bike shop as well, got a little quote for how much it would cost to fix my bike. It was quite expensive. I'd wandered into a coffee shop. I'd wandered to Victoria Park and into the Glade, but this rat started to crawl towards me, and I was a bit scared of it, so I left. I think it's the pigeon guy who sits in the Glade that makes these rats more comfortable with people. He feeds all the animals he sees in the Glade, and he's got a really beautiful relationship with them. I suppose my mind isn't quite as open as his yet, as I still felt scared. Then I cycled to the pavilion. I got myself an almond croissant and a flat white, spent a bit too much, £7. Then I cycled back home, and I made plantain and waffles and beans for lunch. Made that for Cal and Lorenzo. Then we listened to Cal's album, his new album, which he's just made, and we had a little dance to a track he made this week, and I was able to incorporate some of the things I thought about in my dream in the dance about responding to your environment. And then I started to feel agitated and confused because I had so many ideas and things to do, and Lorenzo encouraged me to go for a walk, so I went for a walk, and then I saw all these birds, and I was reminded of my bird presentation and how I'd wanted to do a project about birds, and these crows that I'd originally filmed during my bird presentation, which was actually meant to be about theatre, but I made some kind of parallel with birds and neurodiversity and all that. Well, for my bird presentation, I filmed these same birds on the field, and they are crows, and this time they're all caged in because there's a festival, and I thought it might be interesting to film them whilst they were caged in. I'd also been listening to a piece of music that goes, "You could be anything, you could be free," and I was sort of humming that along as I was filming, because I thought that maybe I could use that soundtrack over the birds if I made another film about them. That when I made that presentation, I actually turned it into a film, and I find filmmaking really interesting. And actually, speaking of roaming around the park, I did also send Ruby a little poem in the morning. I'm trying to remember, it was about just sort of like the first things that were coming out of my head. It was about wandering and roaming and wanting to stay true to my mind, but also the leaves that were falling off the trees, and how this is a curious world. And I think it was something like, but that would be too simple. I'm curious in, I'm wandering, I'm roaming, make it stop. Make it stop. And yeah, it's just sort of like this little poem I made for my subconscious. I had quite a good chat with Ruby about all that, and she liked it, and she asked me about my art, and I told her about the ideas I was having. And then I just remembered that I wanted to make a project about birds and neurodiversity, and how birds provide quite a good metaphor for being neurodivergent.
We are now at Abigaila and Pensan. The next stop is Thrill. Thank you.